Welcome to 5 Star Weekly. Atlanta United were thwarted again by the New York Red Bulls. What went wrong and what went right? We discuss next. Welcome to the show, 5 Star fam. I'm AJ and this is Tanner and Marc. Before we get into it, become a member of the notification squad by hitting the bell next to the subscribe button on YouTube. This segment is sponsored by Thinking Man Tavern, a cozy Decatur neighborhood pub. Grab a tasty beverage from a wide variety of selections and a plate of something delicious from the menu. To go, check out Thinking Man Tavern. Follow our Twitch for new streams and surprises on Tuesdays and Thursdays starting at 9 p.m. on twitch.tv/ATL UTD Fan TV. Atlanta United played a match, but it didn't go our way. However, it was a 1-0 loss to the New York Red Bulls, and again, we cannot best the New York Red Bulls in a kind of regular season type of situation, as these points do count towards the regular season. And New York Red Bull, they score very early, 4th minute, they catch us out. A couple of guys are out of position, and Florian Valot, he puts it away pretty tidily, and we have our chances. We cannot put them away. Some would argue that Manuel Castro maybe missed a sitter or two, but at the end of the day, maybe there are some positives that come out of this as well. But largely, most people are kind of down because of the results. But I think at the end of the day, there are things that we can take away that we can be kind of optimistic about going forward, in spite of just always kind of doom and gloom against the Red Bulls in a regular season scenario. So, but guys, just going through, from the off, it was a lineup that was maybe a little perplexing for some because of the exclusion of Barco. But we learned that, obviously he had a knock earlier that week, and his exclusion probably was to save him from kind of a prolonged, kind of run out where if he does get injured, it might be a long-term injury, and that's not what we want at all, especially, in this time, and already being short some of our top players. Or top player, really. But, and then, so it's, Bello is maybe a surprise for us, at least, probably. You have also Castro and Rossetto in there, and that's definitely something that I think we all did not expect. What did you guys think of the lineup from the off?
I thought it was a bit strange that you didn't have Rometty starting and you had no Adams starting. The Barco, once we found out that he had a knock, that's completely fine with me because, again, I've talked about it for a while. I just want to come out of this as injury-free as possible with this team. You don't want any more long-term injuries, especially to your important players. Take no risks in that situation because, as we've seen, it's been a slogfest for most of these matches, and it's hot and it's difficult down there. I think that was surprising. It was good to see Rossetto was starting along with Castro. They were given opportunities. Performance, obvious question marks there, and Bello got to start as well. I was personally thinking we were going to see Mulroney, who's kind of impressed me a little bit because he has a bit more experience, I think. And Bello had his moments, but I think that was the whole team in terms of they had okay, but there was a lot to be left wanting.
Yeah, and before we get to you, Marc, speaking on Bello, he seemed to, I think for kind of the latter part of the first half, he was really kind of terrorizing, Red Bulls' right side, but it was the early on where he didn't track back for, Valot to just sneak in behind.
I don't blame him for that
Mesa.
goal. I refuse to blame him for that goal for what it's worth. If we wanted to dig into that,
I think Brad Guzan, had maybe some, words about that where he was saying maybe he could have tracked back a little, sooner and had the awareness, and that's what they've been kind of working with him on. But, he's a young kid. He's going to learn from these mistakes, and you don't know until you get into these situations, what to do possibly to rectify them in the future. But, Marc, what did you think of the lineup from the off?
I mean, from the off, I mean, like, before ball is kicked, it's not like I hated it, you know what I mean? And kind of for similar reasons as Tanner. I mean, like, I'm not investing much in terms of, certainly not emotion, in terms of this tournament. And I really don't think more games this year are realistic. So it's just kind of like, you know, why not? Let's find out about Castro. Let's find out about Mo Adams, who Frank DeBoer seems to, he mentioned his, I guess, tenacity, his ability to do the dirty work after the game. You know, it's not the first time he selected Mo Adams in a big game, because he started versus LAFC last year, and he started, I want to say, against Club America this year. Then Bello, you know, I think even, you know, having the options at left wing back is good, but I think ultimately we do acknowledge that Bello's kind of the future in terms of, like, we want him to develop into an everyday starter for the team. And then if he has a career beyond that, you know, we'll see. But I think Atlanta United want to do the due diligence in terms of developing Bello. So, I mean, all of that's fine. In terms of the first goal, you know, that's a pretty big gap between the center backs, which in itself is shocking. But then it's also that's where that ball is played, right? Where that whole thing breaks down. You would think that's where your defensive midfielder is. But he wasn't. So it's you know, it was an aggressive setup, I think, in terms of the positioning of, you know, in terms of how high the line was, how far apart the center backs were. But I mean, they one reason or another, there was a breakdown, and we were caught out early and down 1-0 early against Red Bulls, which is the exact situation I'm sure they did not want to be in.
Right.
I think the other thing about that goal, though, to be fair, is that, you know, it was very aggressive from the board, which I'm glad it was aggressive, but there's aggressive, and then there's, like, naive, and then there's stupidity, right? And something that was a feature throughout the game. First off, let's be completely realistic here. Outside of some really important saves, Red Bull should have scored more. And yes, Atlanta United had chances, but Red Bull should have scored more. Brad Guzan made some incredible stops. So let's go ahead and put it out there that it could have been worse than just 1-0, and thankfully, because it's the first game back, they did not score more goals. And
well,
Brad
to stop
Guzan
you there, though, I mean, it really could have been, I mean, you know, I think Frank DeBoer said so, and I think most fans would agree that Manuel Castro had a 100% chance on one of his absolute sitters that he missed.
Absolutely believe that, and that's one of the. We can get to that as one of the positives.
Yeah.
But in terms of their first goal, one of the Bello could have tracked back, and he did not do that hard enough, and that does come down to his inexperience. And that's a good thing for the tournament. Is that for me with Bello, thinking about it, it's a free hit. Play him as much as possible. He might not be there yet, but the experience is good. And honestly, again, I don't care about the results. The experience is great for him to play at a first-team level.
Yeah.
On that goal, though, Franco Escobar is basically playing center forward at the beginning when we lose that ball. And that was a thing that kept happening throughout the game. There was a couple of times in the first half where Fernando Meza decides to go on a walkabout. He's up there at center forward. And I get that we don't have a striker right now, but when you're playing your back three that far apart, and they were wide when we had the ball, you basically had the center back standing almost at the byline with one guy in the middle. First off, we're not Barcelona. Let's be completely realistic. And the playing out of the back was much worse yesterday than it was last season. So that's something that we have to note, because they were losing the ball and did not look comfortable at all. So you have to have the hubris of knowing, I want to play this way, but can we play this way? Realistically, not that much. And to go to the midfield thing, Marc's kind of right. You'd like to have a defensive midfielder or somebody that can get there. The center backs are all taken out in one pass on that goal, which is why I don't blame George Bello. Atlanta United does not have the midfielders right now to play with two. When you have Darlington Nagbe, you can do it because he does everything and he's incredible. But right now, Atlanta United does not have that luxury. Like, you have to play with three in midfield because that's the only way you're going to get enough quality from the group in that area to be successful. Because Atlanta United could not go through the middle at any point in time. It was going wide, 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 and their best chances came from crosses. Pity Martinez, good service, multiple times. Brooks Lennon, really good service. Put it on a plate for Manuel Castro, who his performance is something we'll get onto later. But the chances came from wide. Nothing came through the middle. And you have to have more in the middle of the park. And playing that wide with no out-and-outs holding midfielder is stupid. And again, I want things to improve, and this tournament doesn't mean anything. But just because it doesn't mean anything doesn't mean you go out there thinking that you're Cruyff's Barcelona trying to play in a way that you don't have the personnel to do.
And that's the problem, I think. Not only the personnel, but knowing the situation that you're in a cup tournament. And so trying to play out from the back, trying to essentially think that you can play out against the New York Red Bull team, who, like, make no bones about it, they were raring to go. They said before the match that, yeah, I mean, they're up for this game. They know they always play us really, really well, and frankly, probably get a result. And so it's one of those things where, we have to kind of know going in. It is, maybe the setup is a bit naive against a team that is going to press, even though there might have been some, kind of adjustments, some kind of alterations that they're, going through, that they're going to, maybe play different ways as well. But yeah, at least from the, the first game, that they're going to have the energy. They're going to at least try, and press they did, and that just such a direct ball from Kaku. It's just kind of disturbing how easily it does slice us open. But with that, there are throughout the match a lot of chances that we create, and we are dictating a lot of the play, not exactly how we want it, obviously, because, yeah, like you were saying, in great points of, our midfield lacking in a lot of areas, to not be able to play with two out and out just midfielders is very, very difficult. So, with XG kind of being a stat that is pretty useful, I think, here, because it also shows that we were very much in this game. Like, we were at no point, like, it was just all New York Red Bulls just controlling us throughout the match. So, like, we could possibly have scored 2. They possibly could have scored 2, maybe 3, without some masterful saves from Guzan. That I think, yeah, I mean, whether they were at his feet or not, I mean, he had to make them. He had to react very quickly to get them. And so, I mean, at the end of the day, it could have been worse. But I think, LA United, we did show a lot of things that we can build on for future matches, because, yeah, obviously, I think against kind of top clubs, or at least clubs that always, we know that will play us tough. It's maybe, because you've seen Club America, that wasn't exactly a great performance, but we knew that, yeah, we were kind of really up against it. And I think you kind of know that we were up against it when we play the Red Bulls. It's going to be, something like that, where, us playing our game is just probably not going to happen. And so that's back to my point. Did Frank de Boer set up the team correctly to play this first match, and were his expectations a little too lofty of the team and the personnel? So, Marc, we'll throw it to you. You can rant for a few minutes if you want.
I know, you're fine. I would say the one thing, if you want to play like that, and like going back, just to reiterate, we understand why Barco didn't start. But want to play like that, where you have the center backs so far apart, I think, and not for the first time, like, the center backs struggled to really create much or in those balls over the top. And especially since LGP is gone, you don't really have that player in the back line right now. I think what you need is a midfielder who's going to do a little more of taking care of the ball, taking it off of the center backs. And maybe he's, that player. And I think it's right now for us, it's Remedi, right?
Or Larry.
He's just...
Or Larry.
Or, yeah, to a degree, Larry. I think Remedi's a little more mobile, but Larry does make himself available, which is the most important thing. And, maybe it's simple passes to other center backs and then to the wing backs and so on, but at least you're getting that ball through the middle to where you're making the other team work a little bit, right? Because especially early on versus Red Bulls, they were just passing the ball around, like to the wing back, to the forward coming wide, and then, like Tam was saying, and then it's cross, or it was long balls, but like not long balls to nobody really, just lumping it up there. And I think to a degree as well, I think Red Bulls deserve credit because they pressed early on, but you knew they weren't going to be able to keep that up, especially in that heat, and especially coming off a long layoff. As the game went on, they sat back, and so I think that's where some of the United's chances came from as well. It's just like a little bit, I think Red Bulls, in a way, control the game in the way they would, which is, like you look at the passing stats, there's no point, like we passed way more, and Red Bulls were like at a 60% pass completion rate versus Atlanta United, I think be something, you
Yeah,
know. But
they didn't want the ball. That's clear. That's how they play. Yeah, and
so, but the XG was similar, you know. Another point I'll make as well, you know, in terms of specifically how that game played out, I made this point on Twitter. I thought it was a very banal point. The way the game played out, you could see exactly where we missed Nagby and Joseph. I mean, the missed chances just puts one of those away. Everybody agrees on that. And in terms of, you know, having that pressure valve, that midfielder who can release the pressure valve, who can take care of the ball, who can, you know, maybe even turn on a player or two and get the ball forward. That was Darlington Nagby. He did that for Columbus for Cincinnati's second goal. He skinned Mijunin, that, you know what I'm talking about. Dribbled the ball forward, passed it to the attacking midfielder, and the midfielder passed it to I guess it was Zardes for the goal. You know, like Nagby had a second assist on that and did most of the work. So for people who want to come at me with, oh, Atlanta United's had a long layoff or a rusty or the mixed lineup, some of those points are actually answering the point that I made, you know. And I'm not saying that we're going to find the exact replacement for those players, because I think we've made this point before. You don't really, but it has to be the replacement or moving on from those players has to come from the system and the new players to a degree, in this case, Okusetu. Maybe, hopefully, Erik Lopez comes in, and when he can eventually play, does well. The only point I was making is that we haven't played a lot of games since we are missing those players, so we're still struggling to kind of move on them.
Yeah. But in the games that we have missed them, we haven't looked great. And I think Marc makes a great point about the system. And, you know, he's very right. It was highlighted the players that Atlanta United were missing. Even you could say LGP as well. It highlighted how Atlanta United is missing him. And again, we say that, you know, again, the results in this tournament, for me, they don't matter. But still, you'd like to see the team play well. And then that didn't happen. I mean, for me, you know, Manuel Castro, and I don't care what people say, the cross was too hard from Brooks. Don't give me that. It was on the floor, it was not really bobbling, and it was in the middle of the box. You are paid to score from kicking a ball. Do better. Whether you hit it, if you hit it first time and he blasts it over, fine. But my thing with Castro is he's here on loan, which means he has to play well in the chances he gets and the opportunities he gets to impress the club into getting him on a permanent. That game wasn't one of them, because not only did he miss that chance, I think he struggled to even execute a shot. And he had 3 opportunities inside of the box to at least put a shot on target. So yeah, the XG might be great. And outside of John's chance, which was probably the best of the game, great save by Red Bull, by the keeper. Atlanta United might have created chances, but they didn't even get shots on target and execute them. At least Red Bull could do that.
Well, yeah, and I think they have guys that, you know, have played together a good bit now, because there is some continuity from last year. We have a ton of turnover, and so it's guys that aren't necessarily really acclimated with each other. And so that's where, you know, I think I made the point in some fan cams that should Frank de Boer have maybe simplified the game a little bit for the team and not having to, you know, have the team stressed about a false 9, have the team stressed about, you know, trying to play like last year in a way, because he's still saying that 3-4-3 is probably, you know, the best formation for the set of players that he has. And, you know, while that, you know, in some incarnation in his head might be true, I don't think it was very apparent in that, you know, on Saturday you didn't see players that were able to finish these moves that, yeah, I mean, I think give credit to Castro, though, that he was able to get into those positions to be able to finish them, and Lennon for also getting the ball to him, and PT as well for Castro as well. But it's just one of those things where, you know, it's just, it's very, very tough, I think, you know, for the personnel in the team if they're not being the, you know, given the system to succeed, probably in a way too. You know, just expecting them to be able to play out, you know, against a team like Red Bull, you know, after so much time off, 4 months off, and then before that, pretty much like 3 months off. You know, the longest off season that MLS has had. I mean, that's pretty much the majority of the year. They haven't been, you know, playing competitive matches. That's, I think, something that is just too tall of an order, you know, from the coaching staff that, you know, hopefully they simplify things going forward so the team can maybe, yeah, you know, what they might have to think in their head to do. Like if they're not within like 3 minds on like, oh, what should I do here? Like instead just be instinctual. That could be a lot easier and better for the team going forward, especially in a cup competition. I mean, there is obviously a pragmatic side to Frank de Boer. Yes, fans do want to see beautiful football from LA United, but at the end of the day, I think the club has kind of prioritized a little bit that the results are ultimately king, and so we want to do that, but let's find the opportunities to do that. Let's do it against an FC Cincy. Yes, we know we can impose them, but New York Red Bulls, obviously, that's just a tall order. So anyway, so moving on from that though, in terms of the guys who did perform well, obviously Brad Guzan was one of them with a couple of very crucial saves. Brooks Lennon, I think, definitely was providing a lot of service from the right. That he had 2 key passes that, of course, Castro, one of them, did not finish. That and then P.T. Martinez. I mean, obviously he was, I think, throughout the game, he was our focal point. He was running the game. I think the bitter thing for me is that he wasn't on the end of some of those. More so, he was creator, and maybe that should be what's flipped. Is a guy like him who has been balling out earlier in the season, maybe gets more looks kind of on the end of these plays, because we know that at least early on in the season he was he was finishing them aplomb. But
I think the problem with that is getting him the ball, though, because if you move him forward, who's going to be the one delivering him the ball? Because Barco has to play, but if Barco's hurt or it's not Barco, where else is it coming from? And I guess that's where you really want to see that step up from guys like Hindman and obviously Josetu in his new opportunity here as well. They're going to have to make those moves, because you're right. I mean, you are right. He has probably the most quality in terms of finishing chances out of the people that are available. And if that's the case, you have to put your best goal scorer there, but then that gives you another question, So, Frank de Boer is by no means an easy situation, but I think, you're spot on in terms of him picking and choosing when he should be playing types of systems and keeping it simple, because you might not have ideal personnel to do what you want to do, and you have to simplify it sometimes, like you said.
Right. And so, maybe it's not, playing 3 at the back. Maybe it's not playing with a false 9. Maybe it's, not playing with just 2 midfielders. Maybe, get a little crazy next time if you see a team like Red Bull that will press you. And, well, obviously there are not many teams like Red Bull in this league, but, anything Red Bull light even, if you face a press, let's plan that, it's maybe try a 4-4-2 or something. Like, simplify it so hard that that the team will be able to respond to know where they need to be. But so in terms of moving on from that, let's get into some of the post-match quotes. And Frank de Boer, he was talking about that second half that he thought was pretty equal. Game of 2 halves. He was probably talking about. He said that, quote, "They had some good opportunities. We had some good ones as well, especially with Manuel Castro in the beginning, and late on, as players get tired, you saw some more chances. We were very close with Adam John's header at the end, but unfortunately for us, it didn't go in and for a draw. But I see a lot of positive things. But we are Atlanta United. We want to win every game, and that's the attitude we want. Of course, we are never satisfied with a point or with no points." I think we can definitely echo that last sentiment. Obviously, there are some pretty passionate rants already throughout this podcast, so I think you can tell that we care for sure. Brad Guzan talked about the Red Bulls' goal. I think fairly obvious. I think we talked about it a little bit earlier, but the looking at Red Bulls against a game like Cincinnati, he said, you look at their games in the past, their fullbacks, especially on the weak side, they bomb forward as well as their interior midfielders. They will make that run consistently. With one ball, we were in trouble. Our spacing wasn't good enough, and with one ball over the top, he was in on goal. That's maybe where we can learn from something like what they've done. Be a little bit more direct and not try to just kind of mess about when we don't really need to at times. Let's just get the ball to PT Martinez and see what we can do maybe in this cup tournament. I mean, we need results, and we need results fast. So, but what's an interesting thing here is that the tiebreakers for determining the 3 highest ranked teams, because this will be something that we will need to look at going in, because right now we are 3rd, and the 3 highest ranked teams are 1 points, 2 goal differential, 3 goals scored, and then 4 fewest disciplinary points, which means fouls, yellow cards, all that type of stuff. So I believe it was 16-17 according to Mike Conti on Twitter that counted all the disciplinary points so far. LA United with 16 disciplinary points. So interesting that comes as a tiebreaker. Very, very, maybe kind of unorthodox, but it's maybe a problem if Franco Escobar can't reel it in. But I feel like maybe we'll be all right. But anyway, moving on. Some of you guys may have noticed there's some crowd noise. They did say that there wasn't going to be any crowd noise going into any of these matches, but Fox Sports did have some crowd noise. Let us know if you enjoyed it or not, because obviously it's a little bit different in Orlando than, say, in the Premier League or the Bundesliga, where they're in their home stadiums. This is Orlando in the Disney World Sports Complex.
With some bleachers.
Yeah, with some bleachers. It's just like, it's not the same feel, obviously. So, let us know if you guys watched it with the crowd noise, and if you guys enjoyed it, let us know in the comments below. But, so, anyway.
I personally enjoyed it.
Yeah. You enjoyed it? All right, great. But
I enjoyed it without the crowd noise.
Oh, okay, yeah. I mean, I agree. It's like one of those things where, right, like you can hear the conversation, you can hear a little bit, but making it out, that's a whole different thing. That's like there's a lot of different languages spoken, and if you're multilingual,
I did enjoy listening because.
Go ahead.
Yeah, the broadcast zoomed in on De Boer's huddle. In the first half, and you could hear him telling the team, like, when this pass isn't there, then go over the top, like, we need to look for this pass or that pass. I mean, that was interesting.
Yeah, and no, it definitely, that shows that Frank de Boer was being more pragmatic. He was instructing the team to go over the top and to the wings, which is, I think, he's adjusting. This is good, but still, it's just one of those where, the system still, I think, doesn't suit the personnel. But do you guys have any final thoughts on the match before we move on? We'll go with Marc first.
No, I mean, we'll just have to see what lineup is out there. I think we all know what our most likely best lineup is. And Cincinnati is a different proposition, so it's just game by game with this thing.
Yeah. Tanner, thoughts on this match?
I don't care. I don't really give a shit about the results in this tournament because I think it's kind of a farce. But I do want to see decent performances, especially from some of the newer and the younger players, to show some flashes about what they can do and to show an idea of, okay, this is where we want to go, and showing actual progress going towards that. If you lose matches, that's fine. But you got to see some decent performances out there because that's what you want. You want to get, obviously this is weird, but you want to get a taste of, okay, this is where we're going. This is what we can do. This is what some of these guys can provide. So hopefully they can do that while staying healthy, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah. All right. So guys, we'll move on and get into the news as I try to switch at the same time here. Here we go. Oh, I did it. And getting into the first bit of news is that Erik Lopez, he was seen signing a contract with his agents on Friday, and Roberto Rojas and Futgol Paraguay and various others in Paraguay have pretty much confirmed that the deal is signed, done, but of course LA United nor Olympia, his parent club for Lopez, have confirmed the deal nor announced anything. And that's no surprise. I think obviously right now there is this tournament going on, and we have roster spots that are pretty much taking maybe a spot that Erik Lopez would occupy in the future. And so maybe announcing that now might not be the best idea, because then you'd have to, play with one short even more, because Jürgen Damm is occupying one of the spots now as well. And so, with that, I mean, you also have Frank de Boer saying that he's not aware of any new things regarding Erik Lopez. So, he's playing some of that coach speak up as well. But what do you guys think? Is this done? Is he an LA United player? Is there too much smoke for it to be just completely false?
It's just that weird MLS quirk again, right? I mean, like, how long did it take us to announce that LGP was sold, or like the whole be out PD Martinez in thing? It's I think part and parcel for MLS.
There.
I'm right there with him. I mean, I think it's just one of those things where you want the deal to get done because you want to see what the young guy can do. But obviously, you raise a really good point with the roster restrictions, and just another stupid thing about this tournament that new players can't play because you need bodies, and you're like, nope, no bodies. You can't have them, even if you sign them, unless they are not good. Which is like, what? I'm so confused. Like, Miami need LGP right now, and MLS is like, no, we don't want you to be better, which would be better on TV, which makes you a better team and a better product for the league. Can't have it.
Yeah, no, it is bizarre, and I think it's interesting to look at maybe some other countries too. It's like, I've been seeing some Americans are going over to, say, Japan, and they have to quarantine for 2 weeks. I'm pretty sure that's not a situation in the United States, because, well, I mean, for obvious reasons, if you believe, I think most people here, and, well, I think the people here believe that all the COVID-19 cases are real, but yeah, I mean, with that going on, if they have to quarantine before the tournament, would that have even been possible? That might not even allow them to even be part of the squad as well. Maybe that's a factor. Who knows? But LGP was living in, I believe, San Diego when he was playing for Cholo. So, if that is a factor, I don't think it really affects him. But so anyway, moving on from that, LA United, they announce that Truist is their left sleeve sponsor, and that Napa Auto Parts is their shorts sponsor, at least for this tournament, for the short sponsor for Napa. Now, it'll remain to be seen if Truist is, the left sleeve sponsor going forward. But, I mean, I think likely loss of all this revenue, that there's going to be, probably maybe increasing sponsorships on these kits. But what did you guys think of the announcement and how it looks? Because, yeah, obviously, it kind of melds in at least. It's all gold with the King kit, and I believe it will probably with the Star and Stripes as well. But what'd you think real quick?
Yeah, I mean, it looks good. You got to make money somehow, so no complaints from me. Just wish Coke or Delta would commit.
Yeah, but they might just be too big for LA United. I think,
Well, isn't Coke a sponsor for Miami? I think they are for Inter Miami. I think they're one of their sleeve sponsors.
Yeah, they're sleeve sponsors.
And it's just like, bruh, you gonna pick Inter Miami over Atlanta? Come on.
It might be also, just to play devil's advocate on that, people know that Coca-Cola is an Atlanta company, and Coca-Cola knows that everybody in Atlanta knows Coca-Cola, so they don't really need advertisement possibly. But Miami, different markets, they know, like, okay, that's maybe more worthwhile for advertisement dollars. But anyway, Marc.
Yeah, it's just, it's revenue. Truist is interesting. I was just thinking, like, you have Truist Park, so maybe there's a little bit of connection there. But honestly, like, Truist seems like they're just, putting their names on whatever they can in Atlanta at this point. So
seems so. Yeah, it does. Well, moving on from that, Joseph Martinez posted on Twitter a couple videos, but his second video, he said, quote, "muscle, almost back," and of course with his mad face emoji, and paired along with that, the video was, some could say it was a gratuitous slow-mo of his thighs as he ran. Some would even say that it's extra AF. and some would even probably say that they like it a lot. And so, with that said, I mean, it's I think you can see that maybe Jose Martinez heard all those criticisms when he was doing leg presses, and he's waging that. I see the criticisms, but there wasn't that much atrophy. It's pretty much there. I mean, and he's almost back, but I mean, yeah, it was a little bit hilarious to also see Michael Parkhurst comment on that Twitter post as well. Just I mean, he said, I think, the best use of slow-mo, which
it might be,
but because I think it all, in some way, one way or another, got us excited. We won't say how, but anyway, so moving on. Yes, Jackson Conway with the Atlanta United 2s. They were playing Tampa Bay Rowdies. They are also back. There's a USL tournament as well. And Jackson Conway have a hit. Wow. I mean, the homegrown, or not the homegrown, but he is an academy player, rather. And he just hits it from pretty much the D outside of the box. And it's like half a chip, half a, just a knuckle ball that just hits the, top middle of the net. That, it is a sweet hit and comes out of nowhere. I mean, it's just a, just a loose ball, and wow. I mean, but unfortunately, they lose to the Tampa Bay Rowdies 2-1. It seemed like there were a lot of academy players in the squad, which great that they get a lot of minutes, but I think maybe a little bit of the inexperience showed in this match. But so they lost 2-1. But you guys saw that hit, right? Ooh, just
yeah. I think Jackson Conway is definitely a player that potentially, could have a chance with the first team in the near future if he keeps improving and performing the way he does with the twos. I mean, he's scoring some really good goals, and he's physical and offers you a different style of forward. So, I wouldn't mind seeing him get a chance potentially in the first team, and I imagine they're very much aware of his progress and tracking that.
Right, indeed. All right, so moving on from that, Miguel Miron, our old friend, who's of course playing for Newcastle. He has had a song written about him. Now, a Swedish rapper by the name of Cozy Panic, he titled a song called Hey Miggy. And it's become a #1 hit in Paraguay on some of the charts and some of the other places as well. But really catchy. I assume you guys heard this one, and I mean, when I first heard it, it was on his wife's IG story, and I was like, wait a minute. Like, are those lyrics about Mickey? Actually about Miguel? And turns out they are. Holy crap. I mean, the people love him. I mean, anywhere he goes. I think even Newcastle United, they put out a post, like, because this is one of the lyrics. They said, "That damned smile." And man, it's just, that smile is just so infectious. And obviously he has kind of, for lack of a better word, he's infected the hearts of, not only Paraguay, Atlanta, but also Newcastle. So, anyway, moving on from that, some of the news from around MLS is back in the tournament. If we didn't speak about this last time, I believe we haven't. But FC Dallas has been forced to withdraw, and also Nashville SC for positive COVID-19 tests that essentially, they were just, it was a little bit of an outbreak that it was just maybe a little ill-sighted by everyone, really, by not only the for MLS, but also MLSPA, maybe because there was initially going to be 2 weeks before the tournament, and they kind of fought back on that for, I think, good reason, because of families and whatnot, and being away from everybody that they love for longer periods of time. But now, because of a lack of that buffer, teams have had to drop out. And I mean, I think even more cements what Tanner's kind of gripes about the tournament are to begin with. But I mean, and then there have been some false negatives as well with Sporting KC, with New York Red Bull right before our match. But real quick, like, do you guys have any thoughts on all that? Oh yeah, also the DC and Toronto match that was played today on Monday. Full disclosure, this is when we're filming this, but yeah, they had to postpone their match as well. I mean, so yeah, thoughts on the COVID-19? Is the tournament in danger of not happening?
I mean, it should be. Well, sorry, I can't say that with confidence. It should be though. I mean, you know, and if there's somewhere where I can bet on whether or not this tournament happens, I would bet on not. Honestly, it's it's just problem after problem. I think one of the latest things is, you know, the fact that these teams are, you know, having to get tested. Then some of these tests are not reliable. But the other thing too is that they have to get a quick turnaround. But your average civilian, I think it's about a 2-week turnaround in terms of finding out whether or not you have COVID after the fact. And so it's just another, I think it's kind of a moral argument in terms of how important is this versus what's happening in regular American civilian life. And it's just, that's what I can't square with, man.
Yeah.
I got tested today, and it's a 7 to 10 day turnaround for me to get my results. So it's just like, you know, added to the fact that they've been having these false positive tests that are causing kickoffs to be delayed or canceled or moved around, and you continue, you know, the teams that have been forced to withdraw aren't exactly happy about it either. I mean, FC Dallas, you know, had, you know, Taylor Tolman talking about them sharing Cheez-Its, and those players are like, Cheez-Its, really? Like, come on. Like, so I think that there's just a lot of just stupidity, and I think that the idea of the tournament was nice, but I think a lot of MLS's policies and ideas about how they were going to execute things were half-baked, not fully thought out. And I'm right with you, Mark, and I don't need to say much more other than I don't know what's going to happen with this tournament, but MLS already has egg on its face. I think at this point it's just how much egg it has on its face come the end of it.
Yeah.
I think the one situation that we're barreling towards is a team in the knockout rounds that has to drop out. Like, I would be surprised if that does not happen.
Yeah. No, these are the not only moral but definitely you know, the actual physical conundrums that the you know, the tournament will have to deal with. So yeah, so that does it for the news, and moves us on to a little bit of housekeeping in that yeah, we're doing not only some Twitch streams playing FIFA career mode. Tanner's been manning the sticks on that and playing as Atlanta United in the EFL Championship, doing a great job. I believe he's top of the table now in the championship, and yeah, we have the possibility of not only winning the league outright, but of course with that gaining promotion into the Premier League, and so that will be a lot of fun. But yeah, join us on twitch.tv/ATL UTD Fan TV for more. And of course, we will also be doing watch-alongs, and we are working out and sussing out all the technical issues that we were encountering last time, and we promise you it will be a better stream going forward. But that does it for the housekeeping, and moves us on to this week's edition of Soccer Trivia Showdown with In the Club. And yeah, Tanner, go ahead and take it away. You're the quizmaster.
Cheers for that, AJ. If you haven't been watching, with what's going to happen is I'm going to name a player. They have played in MLS at some point in time, and then AJ and Mark are going to take turns bidding against each other in terms of how many clubs they can name. If you get it right, then you get a point. If you get any club wrong, the other person gets a point. AJ won last week. He is up 2-1, I believe, and can clinch this week. So he will be starting for us as the current winner. And the first player that you'll be getting, AJ, is Tim Howard. He's played for 5 clubs. How many can you name?
Okay. I'll say 2 for now.
AJ says 2. Mark, you can name 3. AJ, can you name 4?
Let's see. Go ahead, Mark. For some reason I'm cloudy.
Manchester United, Everton, Rapids.
Correct. Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
Also could have said New York Metro Stars, which is where he started his career, and he's
right.
currently with Memphis 901. All righty.
Oh, I forgot you said that.
All righty. To Mark. Mark 1-0 up. Next one's a bit interesting. Has Atlanta United connections, but has not played for Atlanta United, and that would be technical director Carlos Bocanegra, who has played for 7 clubs.
Ooh, oh man. can name one.
One. AJ, can you name two?
I can name two.
Mark, no three?
No.
No three. AJ, two. Should be a layup.
All right. Fulham.
Yep.
Chicago Fire.
Yep. Boom. You want to name any more just to show off?
I'm not in that mode to like go through my mind, so no, I'm good.
All right. Started his career at Chicago Fire, then went to Fulham, then went to Rennes, I believe, in France, or Rennes. Saint Etienne, Rangers, Racing Santander, and then finished his career off with Chivas USA. All right, next player, also with Atlanta United connections, because he currently plays for them, AJ, and this player has come up in trivia before, but is Fernando Meza. He's played for 7 clubs. How many can you name?
Okay. Let's see. Trying to,
As they count on their fingers.
I know, I'm trying to count. Shit. But what does Marc know? So that's the question here. Yeah, 3. Go with
3? I got 3 from AJ. Mark, 4?
For it, AJ.
AJ,
All right.
name me 3.
Yep. Atlanta United.
Mm-hmm.
Cholos.
Yep.
Technically. Yep. And then Colo-Colo.
Technically, yes, but if I could get one more, actually, that'd be great because you never played a match for him.
Necaxa.
Okay. And one more, you said? Or did you say one before Necaxa, not counting Cholos? Because he never technically played a game.
Yeah, Colo-Colo.
There you go. Colo-Colo, Necaxa, Atlanta United. Boom. Also could have said San Lorenzo, Olimpo, San Marcos, and weirdly a club called like Palestine in Palestine in Argentina as well. I don't know. But all right, there you go. AJ, nicely done. Takes the 2-1 lead. Throws it over to Mark. Sebastian Giovinco has played for 5 clubs. How many can you name? A good game is a quick game, gentlemen.
Yep.
2.
2 clubs from you. AJ, can I get 3?
Oh man, what's that? What's that one in the Middle East that we're in?
Right, that's the one.
That's the, like. I have to come up with another one. Oh, I can't. Go for it.
Toronto and Juventus.
Yep. Also played for Empoli, Parma, and Al Hilal as the club you're looking for in the Middle East.
Yep.
Al Hilal. I would have said Al Assad. I knew I was wrong though.
Yeah.
All right, so it's 2-2. Brings it over to AJ. Oh, where'd it go? Sorry, my thing closed on me. All right, Victor Wanyama has played for 5 clubs. How many can you name?
Oh, 3.
3. Mark, can I get 4?
No, go for it.
Okay. Montreal Impact.
Mm-hmm.
Southampton.
Mm-hmm.
I believe Spurs.
Yep. Also
There it
could have
is.
said Celtic and this team called Beershot, I believe. But yes. Southampton, Tottenham Hotspur, and Montreal Impact. Boom, boom, boom. Well played. AJ takes a 3-2 lead back over to Mark. This should be a spicy one. Played for 8 clubs, including Atlanta United. Still have to name it. But it's Breck Shea.
Ooh, okay.
Good game is a quick game.
5.
5? 5.
Okay,
AJ, can I
yeah.
get 6?
Now I gotta count. All right.
So the finger counting, Mark was looking down and it's like, how many can I name?
Wait.
Right.
Shit. Okay. Well,
5. Strong opening bid from Mark.
I gave 6.
6. Mark, can I hear 7? If you can name 7, I'm gonna be hella impressed.
I'm gonna let AJ take it.
6. AJ, give me 6.
Okay. Starting off, FC Dallas,
Yes.
Vancouver Whitecaps,
Yes.
Orlando City,
Yes.
LA United,
Yes.
Stoke
It does
City.
count. Yep.
That's 5, right?
Yep.
Oh shit, the lights. I thought I had it. Oh man, what the hell? That's 5 so far, right? And I renamed Orlando City. Of course, Inter Miami. I think you did play that first match, or
Yeah.
was part of it.
It counts. Yeah.
That's 6.
That's 6.
There
you go.
There you go.
You said 6. Yeah. You
Yeah.
also could have. The other 2 would have been if you would have gotten them as Barnsley and Birmingham City.
Yeah, I thought I said
So-
7 for some reason. That's why I was like sweating. I was like, wait a minute.
Nah, you said 6. You're good. You're good. You're good. You're good. All right. That's what a 4-2 lead for AJ, right?
Indeed.
Going back to him, yeah.
4-2 lead to AJ. Going over to him to finish it off.
Wait.
Right?
Is it 4-2? I thought it was 3-2.
Is it 3-2 or 4-2?
How many have we
It's
gone?
3-2.
Is it 3-2?
So wait.
How many names
Might
have
be
we?
4. No, you're right. It is 4.
Mhm.
You're right. Sorry.
All
good,
right.
all good.
It started with me and then, yeah.
Mhm.
All right. So, last player for the day. Bradley Wright Phillips has played for 7 clubs. How many can you name? Including the team he's currently with. Even though he hasn't played, but we know he's going to.
Yeah. Oh man. I love Righty's kids, but it's one of those. Let's see. I'm trying to think of all the clubs that he's been at. That's the tough one.
7.
That's the tough part. 7. Ooh. I'll bid at least 2. 2.
Okay, 2. Mark, can you go 3? You got to go 3. I mean, otherwise you
have to.
lose.
Have to, yeah. I'm gonna do 3.
AJ 4. You want Mark to name 3?
Oh, go for it.
Name it. All right.
All right, so yeah, LAFC, New York Red Bull,
Uh-huh.
and Newcastle.
No. You could have said Manchester City, Southampton, Plymouth Argyle,
Oh, right.
Charlton Athletic, or Brentford. But he started his career at Manchester City, along with Sean Wright Phillips.
Indeed. Yeah, that's what I have.
So boom. I believe that is 5-2 game, set, and match to AJ. He takes it. Well, AJ.
Well played to Mark as well, and well administered by Tanner. That was a lot of fun. How did you guys do? Let us know in the comments below. But yeah, I mean, that's a tough game. That's really not as easy as we possibly
Yeah,
made that look.
it's you think it's lights on, and then it's a whole thing when you're in a spot, and you got to think of it off the top of your head.
Exactly. Especially some players that maybe you haven't really thought about in a minute. But I mean, it's like, yeah, like for me, Jovinko, it's like, oh man, like I'm not looking at Jovinko all the time, so that's where it could be very tough for the players. But anyway, so
But a standout performer in MLS nonetheless.
Indeed.
He definitely misses his influence at times, that's for sure.
yeah, I think he's his time was definitely too short in MLS because yeah, and I think he not willfully probably moved away. But anyway, that does it for the 5 Stripe Weekly Soccer Trivia Showdown for In the Club, and pretty much the entire show except for the question of the day. And the question of the day is, besides Atlanta United, because that's obvious, who do you guys think is going to win the MLS's Back tournament if it is able to be completed? So let us know in the comments below. We're looking forward to what you have to say. So anyway, that does it for the show. And for Tanner and Mark, I'm AJ. Remember to like, share, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video. Thanks so much for watching.